Good morning, students. Good morning to all. And last day we have studied about the pollutions. So the land pollutions. So in this land pollutions, just we have studied about the types of land pollutions. So today also just we will remind about the types of land pollutions and we will go to the next concepts. So types of land pollutions. So last day also just we have studied about the types of land pollutions only. So today also just we will remind about the meaning of land pollutions. The land pollution is defined as the degradation of land because of the disposal of waste on the land. So any waste of the material used by the human activities or the human beings is affecting the land surface, it is called as a land pollution. So the land pollutions also has the three types. First one is solid waste. Because of the solid waste, how the land is going to pollute. So the solid waste includes all kinds of rubbish like paper, plastic containers, bottles, cans, food, used cars, broken electronic goods and the municipal waste and the hospital waste. So what are the solid waste is coming from anywhere, it is also affect the land surface. So this is called as a solid waste, the land pollutions due to the solid waste. Next, pesticide and the fertilizers. So nowadays the many farming activities engage in the application of fertilizers, pesticides and the insecticides for the higher crop yield which pollute the land. So nowadays many of the farmers also want to cultivate the land or cultivating any of the crops only the reasons for earning more income. So not only the involvement to involving in this agricultural. So these farmers always want to earning more profit by any one of the ways. And nowadays also many of the fertilizers industries and the governments also allowed to use the chemical fertilizers and the pesticides and the insecticides. But these reasons we are the farmers are using many chemical fertilizers in these crops, and continuously if they are using the pesticides and the chemical fertilizers, the prosperity of the land will be affected and the land also will be affected. It will be become as a poisonous one thing. And what are the crops are cultivate on the land, these vegetables and these crops also will become as a poisonous characteristics. So by using the chemical fertilizers and the pesticides, if the land is going to pollute, that is called land pollutions by the pesticides and the fertilizers. Next, deforestations. Nowadays the humans depend on trees for many things including life, because if you want to made any of the furnitures and some of the gates, so most of the peoples are using the trees only. And nowadays all the papers also coming from the trees. So the trees absorbs carbon dioxide from the air and release the oxygen which is needed for life. So most of the things of the trees is providing oxygens by the way of receiving the carbon dioxide. So forest also helps replenish soils and help retain nutrients being the washed away. So deforestation is led to the land pollutions. So the forest also helps to existing the existence of the prosperity of land. But because of the deforestations, the land also will be polluted. Next, causes for land pollutions. So what are the causes are there to occur the land pollutions mean? First one is the deforestations and the soil erosions. The deforestations carried out to create the dry lands is one of the major concerns. So the land that is once converted into a dry or barren land can never be made fertilized again. So the land that is once converted into a dry or barren land can never be made fertile again. So whatever the magnitude of measures to convert it. So if the soil is only erased because of the deforestations, we will never make that land as a prosperity things. Next, agricultural activities. Due to the agricultural activities also, the land has the possibilities to get polluted. So with growing human and pet animal populations, demand for food has increased considerably. So as we have studied already, whenever and wherever the population growth is going to increase, so on the basis of increasing the population's growth, the peoples or the government also has to take the responsibility to increasing the needed food for that peoples. And because of that, so the farmers and most of the land also going to use, and whenever we are going to use that land must be have the possibilities to earning more yield. So because of that, the farmers mostly use the chemical fertilizers and some of the other pesticides also. The farmers often use high toxic fertilizers and pesticides to get rid of insects, fungi and bacteria from their crops. So, however, the overuse of these chemicals results in contaminations and poisonings of land. And not only that, so nowadays, due to the industrializations, the growth of industrializations, so many of the machineries also used in this cultivated land. So when we are using that material or the industrial goods in these agricultural activities, the land also has the possibilities to get polluted. Next, mining activities. So during extraction and mining activities, several land spaces are created beneath the surfaces. So nowadays, most of the countries also depending upon the mining activities, that is the extractive industries. So already we have studied. So if you are extracting any of the mining from the land, that is called the extractive industries. So most of the nations also involving the mining activities are the extractive industries only. So when we are continuously involved in these extracting industries, the land also will get some of the pollute, because the layer of the land also will get affected. Next, landfills. So the landfills are also one of the causes of land pollutions. Each household produces tons of garbage each year to changing economic lifestyle of the peoples. So the garbage like plastic, paper, cloth, wood and hospital waste get accumulated. So the items that cannot be recycled become a part of the landfills that cause of land pollutions. Per day, as a single persons are using many plastics and the solid waste, and a single hospitals also accumulate the tons of hospital waste. So under the hospital, all type of the wastages items are accumulated in any of the surface of land, and in the land also as the acre, the size of land. So this land also will be get affected by accumulating the solid waste. Next, industrializations. Due to increasing the consumerisms, more industries were developed, which led to deforestations. because most of the consumerisms always led to produce more commodities. So because of that, all the producers also will be increased the industrial sectors and the number of industries. And this all industries always required many or numerable size of raw materials. So these producers always depending upon for the raw materials only on the forest or the natural resources only. So because of more consumerisms, all the industries always extracting the natural resources from the land also. So the research and development paved the way for modern fertilizers and chemicals. There were highly toxic and led to soil contaminations. So wherever and whenever the industrializations are going to increase, the natural resources also will be polluted. So mostly in these natural resources, the land only will have the possibilities to get polluted. Next, construction activities. So nowadays, the construction field also increased abundantly because even the poor people also has the possibilities to build a construct building or the another one of the buildings, and the government also providing many financial facilities to increasing the infrastructure facilities for their peoples. So in any way the construction activities are going to increase. So due to the urbanizations, large amount of construction activities also taking place. So this has resulted in large waste articles like wood, metal, bricks, plastics. So these are dumped at the outskirts of urban areas that lead to land pollution. So out of the urban areas, if they are finding out any of the land, so in this land, this waste is going to accumulate or dumped. So in this case, so the construction activities will get polluted. Next, nuclear waste. So the leftover radioactive materials, harmful and toxic chemicals affect human health. They are dumped beneath the earth to avoid any casualty. So now the nuclear power project and the atomic power projects also will be there. And from there many of the wastage will come. So this wastage also will be going to dump in the beneath of the earth. So this is also will be lead to polluting the land. So the seven causes are there to occurs the land pollutions. And not only these seven causes, some of the many causes are there to get the land polluted. Next, effects of land pollution. Okay, if the land is polluted, what are the effects will come or whoever will be affected by the land pollutions mean? First, the soil pollutions. If the land is polluted, the soil is also polluted automatically. The soil pollution is another form of land pollution where the upper layer of the soil is damaged. This is caused by overuse of chemical fertilizers and pesticides. This leads to loss of fertilized land. Pesticides kill not only pests and also human beings. So when we are using the fertilizers, the chemical fertilizers continuously, it will be killed not only the insect, it will kill also the human beings, and it will be decreased the prosperity of the land also when we are using the chemical fertilizers at continuously. So normally we are thinking just we will use the chemical fertilizers on the surface of the land only. But the features of the chemical fertilizers also will be affected the inner layer of the earth also. Next, health impact. The land, when contaminated with toxic chemicals and pesticides, lead to problem of skin cancer and human respiratory system. The toxic chemicals can reach our body through foods and vegetables. So when we are using the chemical fertilizers on the cultivated land, and if we are cropping some of the vegetables, and after that if we are eating that food, So we will get the respiratory system, the human respiratory system also will be affected, and many of the peoples also will be affected by the skin cancers. Next, cause for pollutions, cause for air pollutions. So the landfills and the waste dumping lead to air pollutions. These abnormal toxic substances spread in the atmosphere. It will cause transmit respiratory disease among the masses. So when we are polluting the land, so because of that the air also will be affected. So this air also spread the polluted land, and because of that many of the problems may be arised. Next, effect on wildlife. The animal kingdom has suffered mostly in the past decades. They face a serious threat with regards to loss of habitat and natural environment. So the constant human activity and land is leaving it polluted, forcing these species to move further away. Sometimes the several species are pushed to the verge of extinction or disappear due to no conducive environment. So if the land is not suitable for living any of the animals, it will be make them migrate from one nation to another nations or one forest to another one of the forest. So if the land pollution is going to continuously throughout the world, there is no opportunity to living any of the animals in the surface of land. Okay, then if we have any of the problems, so all the problems also has some of the remedial measures. So what are the remedial measures are there to control the land pollutions mean? First, making people aware about the concept of reduce, recycle and reuse. So if any of the product has the opportunity to reduce or recycle and reuse, that product only have to use for their purposes. Next, buying biodegradable products. So normally if any of the products are having the characteristics of biodegradable, that products only have to use. Next, minimizing the usage of pesticides. So normally all the farmers, if they are using the organic fertilizers, it will never affect the human body and the land. So normally if the farmers are reducing the chemical fertilizers, automatically the land will recover their prosperities automatically. Next is shifting cultivations. Shifting cultivations mean, so we should not cultivate any type of the or single line of the product, single line of the crops. So by every season, so we have to change the crops. Next, minimizing the usage of plastics. So now the awareness of using the plastic or the problems of using the plastics are increased among the peoples. But even though the peoples are wanted to using the plastics and the plastic product only. So if you are minimizing the plastics, so we can reducing the land pollutions. Okay students, next global warming. So I think you all may have studied or heard about the global warming in your previous years. So global warming is the current increase in temperature of the earth's surface as well as its atmospheres. So normally the surface of land or the earth's surface, the temperature of the earth's surface is increased day by day because of highly industrializations and the human activities. And because of that the atmosphere also will be affected and the temperature of atmosphere is also increased continuously. And because of that the ozone layer is going to affect, it is called as global warming. So simply if you want to understand the global warming mean, the global warming is the current increase in temperature of the earth's surface as well as its atmosphere. So the average temperature around the world have risen by 0.75 degrees Celsius over the last 10 years. So about two-thirds of this increase has occurred since 1975 only. So the carbon dioxide, methane, chlorofluorocarbon, nitrous oxides are the greenhouse gases warming the earth surface. So when we are using any of the commodities which has above the chemicals, this is considered as a causes of global warming. So it is also called greenhouse effect. The burning of fossil fuel and other biomass deforestations result in carbon dioxide highly. So the global warming adversely affects agricultural, horticulture and ecosystems. So reduced rainfall, higher temperature and increased best growth hamper farming. The threats to health arise due to increase in disease carrying vectors such as mosquitoes resulting in malaria, dengue fever and the yellow fevers. So because of global warming, so many of the humans also has the possibilities to affect their people. Next, climate change. The climate change refers to the seasonal changes over a long period with respect of growing accumulation of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. So already we have studied the global warming. The global warming means so the increasing temperature of the earth surface and as well as the atmosphere. So in this situation is continuously throughout the world or in course of time. So this is lead to make the climate change. The climate change mean so the normally the seasons, the winter seasons and the summer seasons will come with the proper time. So this arrival time of winter and the summer it will be changed. So the climate change also one of the affect the reason of human thinkings. The recent studies have shown that human activities since the beginning of the industrial revolutions. The several parts of the world have already experienced the warming of coastal waters, high temperatures, a marked change in rainfall patterns. Next, acid rain. The acid rain is one of the consequences of air pollution. It occurs when emissions from factories, cars, or heating boilers contact with the water in the atmosphere. These emissions contain nitrogen oxide, sulfur dioxide, and sulfur trioxide, which when mixed with the water becomes sulfurous acid, nitric acid, and sulfuric acid. So because of the air pollutions, the cloud also will be get affect and because of that the acid rain have the possibilities. Next the e-waste. So e-waste or the electronic waste which is commonly referred as the e-waste. So it is a physically waste in the form of old discard end of life electronics. So after using the industrial or the electronic items, if it is not used, they are going to thrown out into the street or any of the earth. This is called electronic waste. So it includes a broad and growing change of electronic devices from large household appliances such as refrigerators, conditioners, cellular phones, computers and other electronic goods. Similarly, East waste can be defined as the result when consumers, business and household devices are disposed and sent for recycling. So in any way, if all type of the electronic waste is going to accumulate, it is considered as a e-waste. So some type of the e-waste only has the possibilities to reuse or recycling, and many of the electronic goods are never have the chance to recycle or reuse. Next, solid waste. The solid waste is basically discharge of useless and unwanted materials as a result of human activity. Nowadays, the human also has one of the characteristics. They are using all the things or all the items as a use and throw because of the high purchasing power, increasing the high purchasing power. So normally, if the peoples are using any of the commodities, they can use that commodities with a particular days only. After that, he will throwing out and it will be and he will be going to purchasing a new things. And not only that, so what are the things are coming from the household and industrials by using the human activities? This is called solid waste. Okay, students, I think it's enough. So if you have any doubt in these sections, please ask me. I will tell you later. Thank you.